of white individuals. On that day, January 12th, he went out to march in support of Yusuf Hawkins. He was stabbed before he can get out. He was stabbed in his chest. He almost died. Reverend Sharpton created the National Action Network from that crisis. So, in essence, Reverend Sharpton was the first crisis director. The history of the National Action Network, we've had quite a few crisis directors. I'll get into that. But first, the National Action Network is headquartered here in the village of Harlem, New York, and has regional offices in Washington, D.C., Atlanta, Los Angeles, and it also currently has over 105 chapters in cities around the nation. Being that this is crisis night, I wanted to give a firm definition of our mission. A crisis is defined as a disruption. Hold on.
I'm sorry, I don't remember that.
Put on mute, Jackie. Okay, I'm sorry. Excuse me, okay. A crisis is a disruption or breakdown in a person or family's normal or usual pattern of functioning. A crisis cannot be resolved by a person's customary problem-solving skills or resources. A crisis may be different from a problem or an emergency. So we're here, the National Action Network, and one of our first original crisis director was Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton back in '91. He was followed by Teresa Freeman, who was also created the crisis operations here at the National Action Network, followed by my aunt Beverly Austin, June Moses, Maxine Lewis, Marisol Alcantara, Reverend Kevin McCall, William Anthony Allen, and today you have me, Derek Perkinson. I'm honored to be in this position, stand on the shoulders for everyone who came before me. And here at the crisis, we have a 4-step process. And I will explain that to everyone here because we want everyone to be civically engaged as well as we move through the crisis. To get in the crisis, to get your situation handled or looked at by our team of crisis steering committee crisis members, we ask everyone to call 877-626-4651. 877-626-4651. That's how we log the crisis into the log, the National Call Center. Then after we look at your crisis, we'll have someone call you back. Depending on your crisis, we have 4 steps process. The first is legal advice. We like to provide legal guidance in the event of your crisis to see what legal avenues we have to remedy. We also like to, step 2 is reaching out to the local elected officials, constituent services. We pay taxes, and a lot of that money goes to our government officials and government agencies, and elected officials get our votes. So they are responsible for coordinating constituent services with government agencies to get the resources that we need and that we pay for and that we deserve. We also connect with community-based organizations locally to help that individual. If it's a domestic violence case, we'll hook them up with a domestic violence organization to help guide their situation, as an example. Lastly, in step 4 is clergy. We like to have everyone involved in the church and the clergy and see what resources the local churches provide. So that is the 4-step crisis steps that we have here. Gave you a brief history of the crisis department since '91 when Reverend Sharpton started it in response to Yusuf Hawkins. He started the National Action Network, and there you have it. And this is how we came here. So I am proud to present the program Crisis Night. The way the program will work, it will mirror the NAN's Legal Night, where clients are allowed to share their crisis and areas of need, and then we'll find a path forward with the assistance of our resource partners to provide wraparound services. So it is my honor to introduce a couple of our resource partners. From the New York City Commission on Human Rights, we have Sam Yang. Sam, the Commission on Human Rights is charged with the enforcement of the human rights law, Title 8 of the Administrative Code of the City of New York, with educating the public and encouraging positive community relations. Sam Yang comes to the Commission on Human Rights as the housing liaison, and Associate Human Rights Specialist with the Community Relations Bureau. Through his work at the commission, he has facilitated workshops around housing and worked with various community organizations to provide resources on the fair housing law in New York City. Prior to coming to Commission on Human Rights, he worked as a case manager at Services for the Underserved at their home-based program to assist families facing housing crisis. Some of the resources this Commission on Human Rights will be providing tonight is housing assistance program voucher support, vouchers that are not respected by landlords. They can address that. Reasonable accommodations in housing for tenants with disabilities. So we have a large disability committee and they advocate for the disabled. They have 17 categories of against injustice that they fight for. So Sam, welcome. Thanks for being here with us tonight. Also, as a community partner resource, I haven't seen him come in the room yet. Good brother Jermaine. Is Jermaine here yet? I didn't see him yet. Okay. Jermaine is not here yet. However, Jermaine, we have partnered with the New York City Department of Social Services. The Human Resources Administration, or the Department of Social Services, is the Department of Government of New York City in charge of the majority of the city's social services programs. And Jermaine has been working in that capacity since 2012 as the borough coordinator. Jermaine's been in public service for over 26 years. And we're looking for resources out of the Department of Social Services for housing assistance, mental health assistance, as well as he said he does food EBT cards. So welcome, Jermaine.
Hey, good evening.
Oh, he didn't make it. Hey, Jermaine, glad you're here.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming. All right.
Partner Attire, working on an Ida, Superstorm Ida camp event. So
that's right. So for all you don't know, Jermaine is still cleaning up Ida, the remnants of Ida.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people still suffering from that. So let's not let that get lost in this. But welcome, Jermaine. Thank you for coming. And don't want to say last but not least, we have Christina Sparrock. She represents Fountain House. Fountain House is a national nonprofit that fights to improve health, increase opportunity, and end social and economic isolation for people living with serious mental illness. They cover mental health, substance abuse, returning citizens, employment opportunities, college entry programs, culinary programs, and home support. So we have, welcome, Christina.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having Fountain House as well.
Thank you. So we have assimilated a group, city agencies, nonprofits, organizations to provide wraparound services to individuals in need. Now, one of our challenges will be to find individuals in need that can use a computer and get online. I assume, I'm guessing, most individuals will come in person. So with that being said, are there any individuals, I didn't see anything in the chat, are there any individuals here in crisis? And I see my sister Jasmine showed up today. Jasmine Lawrence from Cayuga Center. They also provide wraparound services resources. Anybody, Ami?
Yes, Megan Ford.
Megan Ford, how are you? Welcome. My name is Derek.
Hi, good afternoon, Derek.
Please share your crisis with us and hopefully we can help.
Yes, I sent in a written statement today on the crisis line because I was trying to figure it out. My crisis is that I was a New York City teacher, and when I was a teacher, I suffered an accident. A student accidentally punched me in the head when he was aiming to hit someone else. I passed out. I had a concussion while I was at work. The principal took me home, but really didn't handle the paperwork properly. So that started a series of events for me. I had a concussion and serious injuries. Subsequent, I had some medical attention. Then I continued to experience some of the anxiety and some of the repercussions of my injury. I later got re-injured I continued with my career. I was a 19-year teacher, and then I became an administrator. And while I was an administrator, a broken door hit me when I went to hand out some school lunches. And I've been suffering for years with the physical, mental, and emotional effects of my injury and the anxieties. So at some point, I was not able to work anymore. And I didn't even realize that the impact of the initial injury had on me until I recently got some help with I've been in therapy for a number of years where I was able to travel back to the point of injury. And what has happened as a result, I have lost my career, I have lost income, and I have lost my teaching position, my assistant principal's position. And now at every juncture, I've had to put it down when it was too heavy for me. I've sought help. I have letters where I've written to everyone trying to get some help, and it just hasn't happened. And then now my pension is affected. Not only have they taken my pay because I missed my raises. Now, had I not been injured, they told me the union said the reason that they could not help me, and I've gotten many bogus reasons, is because I did not work my full 25 years. And therefore, I cannot get my full pension. And I certainly lost more money and my health insurance over the years. It's been a long traumatic experience. And so now my thing is, yeah, I wish I could go back to work. There was a point in time when I tried to go back to work. I tried to get them to help me, give me some time to rehabilitate. Instead, they cut off my insurance, where I couldn't even go to the doctor. I had to get on Medicaid. I had been working for all my life, 30 years. And I didn't even know how to navigate that system. And I was totally traumatized. And now I'm only getting 1/4 of my pension. And I can't, and my life, my expenses are much more. I have backed up bills for my children's education. And I feel it's unfair. It's unjust. And not only have they damaged me physically, emotionally, they've taken my money. And now I'm not getting at least the security that I should have as a person who went and got my master's. I didn't want to just sit and not give these children a well-prepared teacher. I took courses for 10 years to make sure that I was up to date. I never anticipated to be in this position today. And it upsets me that I cannot live comfortably. And it was not, maybe I made some mistakes. Maybe I wasn't well enough to fight the right fight. I didn't have the right people to go to fix it, and nobody fixed it. But I still feel that I should have at least my pension and live in dignity.
No, that's a terrible story. I'm sorry you're going through that. Do you have legal representation now?
No, I don't. And I've spent money. I've spent money on the wrong legal representation. At every turn, I had the wrong attorney. Right now, I called NAN about a week ago, and they gave me a name of an attorney. And I called that attorney, and they said they couldn't take my case. I went to a friend who is disabled. I'm legally disabled. I've been disabled for a number of years, but at every turn, I've been cheated. And he says to me, maybe you should try to get a disability attorney. I just need some help. I've paid taxes all my life. I was a good citizen before I fell down, and I can't seem to accept it. A piece of me says, go away. Everybody told me to go away. But then when I have to squeeze and pay my bills in the month and not have anything left over, when I don't have, I can't get food stamps because we make more than we can. I'm living in debt as a result of 2 years where they didn't pay me my salary as a teacher when I was injured. And then they tried to sue me when I tried to sue them for the salary that they paid me after I was injured at work. So I've been in a circle of crap, excuse me. I don't want to use the S word. And it's been a really bad trip. But I've had some good moments. I'm a Christian and God has provided. I cannot, I don't want to discredit that because he has shown up for me. I'm here because he showed up.
Amen for that, sister. You have to keep the faith. I'm going to go to the panel first before I chime in. Sam, Christina, or Jermaine, would you like to chime in?
So this is a quick response. I'm so sorry that you're experiencing this. Navigating through the system can be very difficult, particularly if you have a mental health concern. And it seems like in this society and in your situation where people weren't giving you the dignity and respect that you so deserve. I'm a Fountain House member. I live with mental health concerns myself. And I feel that Fountain House may be able to provide some kind of emotional supports for you. So if you like, in my situation, I can explain to you how it may help you. When I was going to family court, I had Fountain House actually come to family court to meet with me to help me give me the support and the strength and encouragement to navigate through the system. And I'm also a mental health advocate. So if, Sam and Jermaine can help you in other ways, if you want my support, to be there with you step by step to vent with and to talk through this stuff as you're going through it, I will offer my support.
Thank you, Christina. Put the contact information in the chat for her.
Sure.
Sam, Jermaine, would you like to chime in and see what services DSS or Commission on Human Rights has?
So when it comes to employment, individuals do have rights, particularly when it comes to disability. And one of them, similar to housing, is that they could request for reasonable accommodation in employment as well. The only thing that I have to mention is that the agency statute of limitation is 1 year. So if you were fired within that 1 year time frame, you could get in touch with us and we could definitely help you out by getting in touch with DOE with the school. Was it within the,
Sorry, that's been the challenge because when I was going through it, everywhere I went, you just missed the deadline. When I went, finally, I had to fight for everything. And every time I got to one office, it was too late, and it's like, I don't know.
Okay. So do you know when so it was more than a year ago? Is that correct, Ms. Ford?
Oh, more than a year ago. More than a year ago.
I mean, so what I can say is that, if you are looking for future employment, your disability shouldn't really be a deterrent for any type of future employment. If you decide to go back to DOE or any other form of employment and anyone's telling you, because of disability, you can't do a certain job, that could actually be considered as discrimination. And you should definitely let me know about it. And we could also help intervene in this case.
And I had even thought, because I've been in this island for so long, that if somebody could help me re-enter as a disabled person, I'm willing, because my ends cannot be met as it is right now. And it's just, I feel like I've been taken advantage of in every possible way.
Yeah, and also our disability committee chair, Naomi Jones, put in her contact information. I think she can be supportive in some capacity as well. Jermaine, do you have anything on the city side that can be done about this case?
Yeah, so the thing with this is that that's pretty much a little complicated. Is that it's safe to say that, are you getting Social Security disability now?
Yes, I am.
Right. So most of our services, the part that makes it, somewhat of a hardship for a lot of people is that they make just enough to try to make ends meet, but not enough to get services from us. So in her sense, when you get a Social Security disability, that's usually the largest amount of the Social Security that you can pretty much get. And depending on what her expenses are versus her resources is where the concern is going to come in, especially when it comes to getting the SNAP, which is the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. Got to be correct about it. But at the same time, my next question I wanted to ask you is that, so you mentioned that you're not able to get your pension. Am I assuming this is through NYSERS or through a different?
Through the teacher's retirement. Because I was an assistant principal when I had the re-injury, they demoted me right away. CSA didn't cover my expenses or give me my union, at least the proper representation that I was supposed to have. They dumped me into the rubber room because I was injured. Then I lost happy teacher, but then they put me through this tunnel of supposedly disgraced teachers. And it took me years to figure this out, because I was named teacher of the year before becoming assistant principal. How did I go to the point where nobody helped me? So I found out that because the principal demoted me illegally and placed me in the rubber room, I was not able to get with I didn't have a UFT union rep. And so they expedited this termination while I was demoted. And I was like in this abyss in the alternative high school system. And they got away with demoting me illegally. They got away with terminating me. And so this was supposed to be either the CSA, the supervisor's pension, or the UFT. I ended up getting a small UFT pension, which is like less than a quarter of what I'm entitled to. And
Right. So I'm sorry. So your concept is actually trying to fight back what you feel you was entitled to.
Exactly.
Got you. Okay. Because I was just concerned because I know normally if you already vested time in a pension program, and I'm gonna say through the city because I'm not sure if that's through the state or not, but at the same time, the only reason you couldn't get the pension is because you don't have the age at the time. So, but normally that wouldn't stop you from being. It's just that your pension would have stopped at a certain point where you're no longer vesting into it, and that's where it should have been more money into it before the time they terminate you. That's what I got. What the problem is. Okay.
And the thing they were supposed to pay me based on, I was there for. They say they're paying me based on 17 years, but I was really there for 23 years. I had 2 children with them, and they claimed that I didn't finish my 25 years. And my thing is, had I not been injured, then I would have finished my 25 years. Nobody goes into teaching and spend more than 10 years not to finish, not me anyway. And you can't hold something against me. You break my leg and you say I can't run because my leg is broken.
All right. So one more question. So did anyone at any time ask you to fill out workers' compensation?
I filled it out, but they never honored. I was in the hospital and they never honored it, and they never.
Oh, okay. Because I know normally that's what agencies do to cover a certain portion of you not actually working and when you're on a leave, and then the workers' compensation is supposed to kick in financially to cover you during a certain period of time while you're out, and then they would give you a time frame to come back, and then they make an assessment and determine if you're able to come and teach again. But okay, because you definitely have a lot going on here, and I know that's definitely not an easy, transition going through. And yeah,
we're not surprised. The city is stumped. We're not surprised, Jermaine. We're not surprised. But I have a plan forward after we take a couple of questions and comments.
Okay.
Dr. Jackie Cody had a hand up first. Dr. Jackie, would you like to say something?
Yes, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Brother Derek, for doing this. Ms. Ford, you're looking at your counterpart, unfortunately. I went through it. I've been in DOE, went through it, and I'm also the education committee chair for National Action Network as well. So I'm going to cut to the chase. The story sounds similar. Thank God I'm not, on disability or anything, but it's very similar. I went through attorneys, even got an attorney who ran off with my settlement funds.
Yes.
And didn't include wrongful termination in the suit. So to make a long story short, I want you to, I'm gonna put the email in the chat. I want you to email me at nanacommittee@gmail.com. I'm gonna put it in the chat. I'm gonna connect you with Advocates for Justice, right? Okay. Advocates for Justice, when I connect you with them, if they cannot help you, they will definitely connect you with attorneys that will be able to sift through all of this and get you what you need. Okay? So please email me and we'll take it from there. Have a good night.
Thank you, Dr.
I'll be
Jackie.
here, but thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jackie Cody. Does anyone else, I didn't see anything in the chat. Does anyone else have a question, comment, or concern? I see Giovanna have you been human rights? Have you found a human rights violation? Ms. Ford?
Yeah, sorry.
Yes.
I had filed with them in 2012. My case was so complicated because I was injured in a line of duty injury and they didn't want to give me that designation. They took me around a big loop. And because I was not well, I just kept trying to fight. And I didn't even know what I was doing. I just knew that this was wrong. When I went to
hold on, Ms. Ford, what city and state are you calling from?
New York City. I live in Manhattan. I live in Harlem, and this was New York City. And this was the border.
Hold on now. Let me do my 4 steps crisis now. I'm going to get you a legal referral tomorrow. I need you to tap in tomorrow so you can talk to an attorney and live, just on the Zoom, same link, lowercase letters, legal night for the password. Do you know your local elected officials here in Harlem?
I know I get my mail. I used to get my mail from Oh my God, I went to, uh, let's see. I knew some. I can't rattle it off the top of my
Okay,
head. Right.
okay, that's okay, that's okay. Well, next time we talk tomorrow, you will know the levels of government, so I can reach out to those offices to see if they could be helpful. But I'm gonna get you an attorney tomorrow to talk about your legal avenue, and then you'll talk to Dr. Cody about her avenue as well. And
Okay.
Christina will definitely be there for support all the
Thank
way. Giovanna, you have your hand up, Giovanna Mark?
Yeah, hi everyone. Thanks for having
Welcome.
me. And Derek, this is good. I like this. But I had two similar cases, one with SUNY, one with CUNY in New York State and New York City. And similar, they got fired, they didn't want to give their pension. And I spoke to a Jennifer, which I built a relationship with over at the Human Rights Office in the Bronx. Those two cases has been settled. So maybe Miss I'm sorry, I didn't get the name.
Or
Ms.
Yeah,
Ford.
Miss Ford. Sorry, Miss Ford. So maybe Miss
yeah,
Ford can contact Jennifer directly. I do have a direct number for her,
thank
and maybe
you.
she can give her some type of guidance because
Giovanna, give Ms. Ford your contact number or email in the chat if
and
you can.
yeah, I could actually I could forward you just the direct number to
Okay.
Jennifer
Oh,
over at
Ms. Ford,
Human.
do you have an email, Ms. Ford? You want to
Yes,
put it in the chat? Put your email
yeah,
in the chat.
I have to learn how to do that. Let's see if I should be able to do that. Put my email in the chat.
Thank you
Hold on.
much. Thank you much.
Yeah, I have to figure out. Let me see. The chat is the hand. Where's the hand?
Yeah,
Oh, I
what
see.
is it? I could type it in for you. This is Christina. What is it? Just say it.
MEGNU1@gmail.com. So it's MEG, M as in Mary, E as in Edward, G as in good, N as in Nancy, U as in up, number 1 @gmail.com.
Thank you so much for that. And thank you everyone who chimed in. Does anyone else have any comments, questions? Okay, good. So let's move on. Is anyone else on the call, on the Zoom, seeking crisis assistance? That was a tough call for a first one.
Megan, I
I'm
just want to make sure I did it right. It's M as in Mary, E as in Edward, G as in George, N as in Nancy, U, number 1 @gmail.com.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
So hopefully we'll get you some assistance there, Ms. Ford. Thank you so much for sharing here at Crisis Night, our first Crisis Night Seeker. And we did pretty good. We're all hands on deck. This was the vision. Everyone
Thank
chiming in. Brenda Coles, good to see you from Virginia. Now, I want you people to know this is a national team that we have here at the National Action Network. The steering committee is all from all over the country, and we go all over, take calls from all over. And we have a little hole. We have a little hole. So being that no one else is on the call, I'm going through some
Excuse me.
data. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm
I've been
sorry.
raising my hand, and every time I
Yes.
raise it, it gets lowered.
I'm sorry. We're ready for you.
At any rate, this is my first time hearing about Crisis Night, and I accidentally came out of the Zoom meeting when you were explaining the difference between a crisis and an emergency, because I may have a crisis. I just need to know what your definition of that is. I can't hear you.
Okay. Would you like to share your crisis?
I don't know if it qualifies as a crisis. That's why I
Well,
asked.
share your crisis, and we see.
Okay,
Again, we provide
okay.
wraparound services, so it
Okay.
may cover.
So a relative of mine has just accepted a job at Lehman College as a custodial assistant or aide or something along those lines. And from the outset, as I would hear about this, I would say this just doesn't sound right to me, that he was required to pay a hiring fee. He started Monday, or what's it? Today's Wednesday. I think he started Monday, and he won't be paid for a month. And he's not eligible for benefits for a year. And it sounds really pretty messy to me. So I happen to be home because, I am recovering from some oral surgery, which is why I turned my video off. But, I just think that this is a godsend that I received the email about this tonight. Because I was wondering, I was going to go a Department of Labor route, but I will be going back to work and won't have time to follow up. So this seems like, I don't know if this qualifies as a crisis, but it seems like something wrong, I think, is happening. And so is this something that you all would be interested?
Well, let's see if we can articulate it more clearly, because I'm a
Okay.
little lost. Does anybody from the panel have a clear view of her crisis? Christina, Yang, Sam? Yeah, so you're saying you have a relative
Yeah,
that has facing injustice at his place of employment. He just got it, and they tell him he's not going to get paid for the first 4 weeks.
yes.
Okay, that's almost right, because you get paid every 2 weeks. The first 2 weeks don't count, and you have to wait another 2 weeks. So your first check is 4 weeks out with
Okay.
most jobs. So that wouldn't be a crisis. That's not injustice as well.
Okay. And not getting benefits for a year, is that
Now that part,
regular?
Sam, we have to talk to that, because I know from my experience with employment, when you get a new job, they give you 30 days or 90 days before your benefits kicking in. Some wait till 6 months, but I've never heard anything after that or longer than 6 months or a year.
Right.
So Sam, you know anything about that?
Well, I mean, with Lehman College, usually anyone that's working with them does get the benefits. So I think the main question was, is this with the school or with a third party contractor? Because usually it could be like a third party temp agency that is then signing them up with the school. In that case, the temp agency usually sometimes don't provide the benefit.
I'm sorry, in that case, what?
Well, is it through a temp agency or is it actually through the school?
My understanding was that it was directly through the school. When I heard about this hiring fee, this was about 4 weeks ago, I, looked at the URL, and it was actually on a CUNY site, and they were talking about a hiring fee. And I've never heard that you have to pay to get a job, but
Well,
my thing is, I don't know what's going on. So
Jermaine,
Right.
you want to chime in?
No. So what I was gonna say, so there's always, even with the city, there's always a certain processing fee, whether it be for fingerprints, background checks, this and that. Especially when you get a job where, one, you're working with kids or young adults. So at the end of the day, they have to make sure they screen them for certain type of things, just as a protocol. Now, maybe the terminology he used might not be the correct one, but again, that seems a little far fetched like that. But like I've known working for the city, like I've paid, at least $35, $50, and sometimes, depending on how long I've been with the service, it was exempt. But it's a possibility. But when it comes to the insurance part, only, especially I'm gonna just use Medicaid as an example. Our services work based on you filling out an application, right? So as soon as you fill out the application, if you have any any issue that you have to pay out of pocket or whatever during our process of application, there's a good chance you're going to be covered for it, depending on if you accept it. So if you have the job, for them to say you got to wait now, again, it could be a whole year to probably use the service, maybe something crazy like that. But at the end of the day, there's no way, especially with Obamacare, that a person could go without health insurance with having employment for more than 6 months, like Derek mentioned. Like that's really far-fetched, and I would probably look more into that before I sign anything, because at the end of the day, you don't want him to pay money for something and not having the full aspect of what it entails. Or even if he has the job, like that's kind of like a probation, and then he could turn around and give up the money and then wind up not having a job in 3 months,
Yeah, I
that's
agree with
kind of
Jermaine.
crazy.
I agree with Jermaine, because when I was working for the city, I did have to pay fees with like fingerprinting and so forth, but it took I was working for like 5 months for them to vet me, and officially I became a full-time employee, and 5 months later. I don't recall how the benefits work, but since I was management, my benefits was different from the union
Right.
employees. So for a year to me seems too long, but I don't know when the person is hiring, if the contract is right there, and if you're signing the contract, doesn't mean it's a legal binding contract, is illegal at all. But if the person's reading it before they sign it, I would have questioned it during that process before I signed it.
Right,
Thank
and it
you for
has to be
that.
something in writing. 'Cause at the end of the day, even with the payment part, like even working with the city, you're usually a week in a hole, and that's how we use the terminology, because you're gonna get paid, but you work that first week, and then you'll get a check the next week, and it'll be like half of what it should be, because you're gonna always be, you're gonna always owe that week, and then if you happen to retire, make it to that, knock on wood, you'll get that money back in the long run. But yeah, waiting for,
That's
I
a
mean,
long process. Nobody
yeah,
can
that's
wait
a
that
long,
long for their money.
right. And then, because again, even if you get paid, I mean, unless you get paid monthly, which of course that's a possibility, but that's, again, there has to be stipulations that he needs to read before he signs anything, or go through with that. Because I can't imagine
Okay.
him just saying that word of mouth.
Thank you. No, let me get to the question. I see Giovanna got a hand up.
Thank
Before she
you.
do that, I have a question from Sister Word here in the House of Justice. Employees should ask to read employees' policy. I know Brenda Coles big on reading a company's policy and their rules, and this is how you get them. So, sister, let's try to get your hand on the company's policy, and we'll get an attorney, hopefully someone here to look through it with you. So, Giovanna Mark, your hand is up. You are acknowledged.
Yeah, I think I put some information on the chat. The first thing I would do was contact Department of Labor, because I don't know anywhere in New York City where you have to pay for a job. Like my other colleagues just said, is true that sometimes you do pay for fingerprints and background checks, but never do you have to pay to get hired for a job. So I would definitely contact Department of Labor. I put my contact person name up there, and she could probably reach out to them.
Thank you, Giovanna. Giovanna is on our crisis steering committee, as is a whole bunch of people on this call today. So thank you, Giovanna. Anybody else before we move on? Anybody else with a crisis? I know that was me. Anybody else in the crisis? Put your crisis. If you want to speak on a crisis, have a crisis, please put it in the chat. Please put it in the chat. Hey, Charmaine, how are you? Thanks for coming tonight. Would you like to share your crisis?
I'm trying. I don't know how.
Take your time. We're here with you, sister. We're here with you. Everybody's here on their own volunteer, because we have a passion for this work. And we have a passion for helping people. So you're in the right room. It's okay to cry, but we need to know some details so we can help you, sister. So please share as much as you can.
I'm trying to figure this out. I don't know how to do this.
Let's start here. What city, what borough are you in New York?
I'm in Brooklyn, New York.
Okay. What's your name?
Charmaine Parish.
Okay, Miss Parrish. Brooklyn. Okay. What is the?
So my boyfriend was killed in New Jersey.
Okay. How long ago?
April 16th.
This year?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry to hear that. So sorry.
I reached out, his mother and myself reached out to New Jersey Police Department, and they stated that he killed himself.
Okay.
So I reached out to all of the officials that we need to reach out to. Nobody's helping us. I reached out to the mayor, Barack. He's not helping. They're basically saying he's killed himself. And when I asked the police detective how, she refused to tell us how. When we had the funeral, I found out that he shot himself in the temple, quote unquote. But it's the left temple, but he's a righty. So I'm asking the police department, how hard or how easy is it to shoot yourself if you're righty in your left temple so clear and clean? And they just ruled it out as a suicide. Still haven't gotten a death certificate as of yet. Still haven't heard from the medical exam as of yet. And all his colleagues, his employees, his employer stated like he didn't have a reason to kill himself. He was making $20,000 a month doing fires in New Jersey. Even though he was supposed to be in New Jersey because he's a parolee, I think this is why they just thrown it underneath the carpet for the most part. But it's so many loopholes in this that no one's helping.
All right, I'm sorry you're going through that, sister. It just so happened as you were speaking, one of our lead attorneys and creators of Legal Night, Joe Schmelkin, has logged in, and I will go to him first before we go to the board, the panel. Joel, did you hear a little bit of her crisis. And I was going to bounce it over to you tomorrow, but being that you're here, would you like to share a little bit? Take it off mute.
Okay, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. First of all, good evening to everybody. Derek, as usual, you're doing a great job in terms of coordinating crisis and dealing with all the different chapters and the committees. And really, it's really a pleasure to be a part and just to join in. I have a meeting tonight, but I just wanted to come by and just to say a quick hello and to tell everybody that I do work along with Mike Hardy and a lot of the other attorneys at the National Action Network on the Law Committee. And we have legal night the last Thursday of every month when you have legal issues and things of that nature, when you can always feel free to join in and Zoom on, so to speak, and ask whatever questions that you may have. Unfortunately, I didn't hear what the caller, what the concern was. I just a second jumped on and I'm
No,
trying
I
to
saw
figure out
you just got here. You just got here. I put you on the spot. No, it's good to see
That's
you.
quite
but
all right. No, it's good to be here.
We're gonna get her to definitely legal night to talk to you guys tomorrow about it. Is a case in Jersey where she feels the police are saying it's a suicide. She feels it's something more than that. And we need to, and she's not getting no answers. It's been 5 months. She hasn't had any reports, no updates. 5 months, April. So we have to do something about that.
So there's
Even an autopsy report, nothing.
no question, right? There's a question in terms of whether they're doing their investigation properly or whether they're doing anything or just throwing it to the side. What part of New Jersey did this happen in?
It was in Newark, New Jersey.
Newark. Okay. I have a colleague of mine who works and does a lot of police brutality cases with and works along with me, and he's in West New York, New Jersey. If you'd like, you can give me a call early in the morning tomorrow. I'm more than happy to speak with you, or you can just come on to legal night and you'll see how that's set up and the routine. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Okay, I could do that.
Let me give you my phone number now. I'm just trying to figure out how to use this, but if you can jot this down, my name is Joel Schmelk, and you probably see the spelling of my name. And my phone is area code 212 227 8865. And as I said, I'm more than happy to put you in touch with my colleague tomorrow. His first name is Marvin. I don't want to say his last name or telephone number now, but I'll speak with you about Marvin tomorrow, and hopefully at least he may be able to give you some guidance.
Okay, Charmaine, thank you. Charmaine, call Joe tomorrow, but also come to legal night still. Tomorrow night, same Zoom link, same password, lowercase, and you'll be all right. Joe, thank you for tapping in. Does the panel have anything to share on that particular case? I know that's a tough case.
And I just wanted to say, Charlene, definitely sorry for the loss. Just keep in mind when you asking for the death certificate, make sure you ask for the long form, because that one usually gives you an idea of what the cause of death was, and that you want to make sure you have as much information going forward when you're trying to figure out what's going on there.
Thank you for that. We're learning a lot of little things about government in here tonight too. Long forms and such. Thank you for that, Jermaine. Anybody else?
Charmaine. Yes, Charmaine, this is Christina. I'm very sorry for your loss. I can't imagine the emotional pain and trauma that you're experiencing right now. And I can understand the frustration of being dismissed by the system when you're just asking for just clear answers and it's not fair. If you just want any emotional support or someone to talk to and vent to, I'm always free to just talk and to vent if you wanted that available.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks a lot, Charmaine, for sharing. Thanks for having the courage to share. And again, this is the right place to do it. Thank you much. Anybody else on the call?
Debbie, yeah,
Giovanna.
Yeah, Charmaine, how you doing, Charmaine? This is Jaffa.
I'm blessed.
I know Charmaine, I asked Charmaine to come on, but Charmaine, one thing I didn't think about is you could contact Crime Victim Services. Have you reached out to Crime Victim Services?
No, I know none about that.
Okay, call me later on after the Zoom call, and I'll give you the number of my contact person over.
Okay.
I think they might be able to assist you.
Giovanna, a quick question. Is it best for Charlene for herself to do inquiries, or better for her the young man's parents? 'Cause I know sometimes confidentiality is always a problem, and we definitely went.
Well, I would pass. So, I mean, that makes sense too, because we weren't married, so that would be
Right. And I know places are real funny about that, even though the commitments there between you guys was there, but they may, most of the time they don't look at it that way sometimes.
And I also, Charmaine, my name is Brenda Coles. First of all, I just want to say I'm so sorry for your loss. I know that when Joel speak with you, or in his attorneys, his colleagues speak with you, something that you want the family to also do is a FOIA request. And because I think Joe kind of hit on it a little bit, if there's an investigation that's still going on, then they'll tell you there's an investigation still going on. That's why the holdup. I don't know why, but you may want to just get. You can apply for a FOIA request. What I can do is just send you out just the application for the FOIA request, or just wait until Joel talk to you about that as well. And that's for the family to be able to get the documentation to see what's going on that case.
Are you saying FOIA or
FOIA?
FOIA. No,
Okay.
FOIA,
Yeah.
not FOIA.
okay?
FOIA. Thank you, Brenda Coles. Thank you, Charmaine, for
Can you
sharing.
hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Barely.
I'm sorry about that. But when you call crime victim services, Charmaine, she can actually call Mr. Williams. She can actually call herself. Because I believe their Commonwealth husband wife, they were living together for over 10 years, possibly, if I'm correct. So
Correct.
she's able to go herself and make these initial contacts, at least get the information, and then she could pass it on to the family, because somebody has to do it. So we don't want to wait for family members. If she's able to go ahead and get that information and get that stuff, she could always pass it along to the family members.
Thank you for that, Giovanna. Is anybody else in the room for crisis? Christ would like to share a crisis. Dana Mondesi, I see you here. Jules, Mary Crowley, Emma Lotta, Marie, Kid Cordell. Okay. So like crisis night, they're all waiting for legal night tomorrow. Good, good. So that was good. I mean, that was good. I mean, it's a tough crisis out here. There's a lot of situations need to be handled. I see it can't just be handled one way or the other. It's got to be handled multiple different avenues. And the emotional support is really good. Thank you, Joe. And the emotional support is really good to have. So appreciate that, Christina, being there for some of the callers in their time of need.
Yeah,
So
I just want to say, I know you guys, a lot of, I mean, the situations you have for this first this evening has been definitely complicated. And at the end of the day, the best thing you can do is, definitely pray on it. Keep your head up. It's going to work out. Because at the end of the day, it's definitely not an easy situation, whether it be trying to get benefit, what you're entitled from the Board of Education. Also, dealing with a loss of a loved one. It's a lot there. So just don't give up hope. I'm glad to see that everything worked out where you're going to you're getting pointed in the right direction, which is the most important thing about an event like this. And hopefully we continue to see progress going forward.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jermaine. So say again. I had our good friend Joshua Cureton. For those that don't know, Joshua is one of the original 5 who signed the documents for the National Action Network. So Mr. Cureton helped me with a project here. So we went over to the call logs. We get calls here at the national headquarters, 877-626-4651. And we're close to 1,000 calls to date. Well, I had them from August to September. So in that 2-month period, we covered almost 500 calls, a month. And a lot of times we don't put down the person calls back for one reason or another. So that's a lot of calls, and we could not handle a lot of those calls without Culver McCall. I give Culver a shout out. He answers most of the phone calls here. Katrina Jeffers answers a lot of calls here as well. And Culver and Katrina logs them into the call log. And all the volunteers you see on this call and more get to it. and provide the support. And you've seen some of that today. You've seen Dr. Jackie Cody, you've seen Brenda Coles, you've seen Giovanna have insight on how to do some of these problems as well as our community partners. So it's just something we want to do. It's going to grow as we move along. And Jermaine, it's going to get tougher. You're going to hear some more harrowing stories, worse than that. We get them every day. So, that's just it. Anybody else want to comment on anything? I see some things in the chat. Okay, it was good to have Joel tap in. So don't forget tomorrow, legal night. And for all the crisis steering committee folks, if anyone's calling, with a situation, tomorrow will be the night they call in to legal night to get guidance from an attorney, at least to see if they have a legal recourse before we start, going other avenues. So that's very important tomorrow night. And Monday night, please get the kids to come to the youth huddle. We got NAN Youth Huddle every Monday night, right here at the House of Justice, also online, live stream Zoom. We are on YouTube live tonight. We didn't get the Facebook live tonight. We were out the office. So we are all over the place. So Jasmine, it's good to see you. Jasmine, tell us a little about Cayuga Centers. Cayuga Centers is actually one of the resource partners here as well.
Yeah, of course. Good evening, everyone. I am the Media and Community Specialist at Cayuga Centers. We're a nonprofit family services, recently becoming national with one of our HSPRC programs, but essentially we provide support and stabilization services to families. In New York City, where I'm based, I'm in the Harlem office. Our programs are primarily around foster care, short-term and long-term. We have a contract with ACS as well as with the federal government to provide short-term foster care services for unaccompanied minors. So that's become increasingly relevant at our borders and also with the current crisis in Afghanistan. So we're constantly in need of bilingual foster parents, as well as staff who are bilingual. We have over 200 jobs open right now as we've expanded. So what I'd like to do is just include a link tree where you could learn a little bit more about our services. And it also has a link to our careers page. Around this time, I think that we've been really blessed at Cayuga Centers to say that we didn't lay off any of our workers during the COVID-19 pandemic. And we can honestly say that we're hiring. And I think that that is something that can really help our communities, especially as we're working toward getting out of this craziness that we've been living in. So without talking too much more, also I'm open to questions. I'll include my contact information in the chat box as well.
Excellent. Thank you, Jasmine. Thank you very much for being here tonight. Thank you for all that you do. Want to go around the room, have people introduce themselves. We're going to use the last 15 minutes to clean up. No one else has a, okay, I've seen a Greater Harlem Coalition member in the room. We're working with them on the methadone clinics here in Harlem and stuff like that. So, Jermaine, I'm sure you heard about that big meeting we had with Oasis a couple of weeks ago. So we're still working on it. Still working on it. The lady went on vacation. She'll be back next week, and we'll get back on the calendar with her as well. So I want to introduce
Dr. Cody. Hi, Dr. Cody.
How you, sister? Go ahead.
I was going to mention Emma was the Greater Harlem Coalition was well represented at the CV11 meeting yesterday.
Oh, I'm sure it was.
Let them have it.
Hi, Sister Emma. How are you, my dear?
It's about 600 to 800 strong now, and we've been fighting with them for the last 3.5 years with the, with the issues in the Central Harlem area.
Yeah, and I joined about 3 years ago. When I first came.
I remember.
I got Nan involved, and we finally got a meeting with the big bad Oasis. Oasis would not meet with any elected officials. They wouldn't meet with anyone, and we finally got them at the table with the governor's office, City Hall. Governor and City Hall's office, they ain't been in the same office in 8 years. They said so. That was shocking to know. They couldn't work together at all, but Yeah, it went very well. We're
So
still
I'll be
working.
back tomorrow. I'll come back on tomorrow.
Thank you, Emma. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you. So let's go around. I see I have an intern, an ex-intern here, Miss Denise Brooks. Hey, Denise, how you doing? It's good to see Denise here. We miss our interns.
Hello, everyone.
Please capture the information in the group chat. It's a lot of good information there, contact information. Introduce yourself, Denise. Tell them what you're up to. Who are you?
Oh, wow. My name is Denise Brooks. Hello, everyone. My name is Denise Brooks. I was just recently an intern at NAN, and I am now heading for my second degree in civil legal justice and legal studies.
Excellent. Thank you so much there. Miss Brenda Coles, would you like to introduce yourself, my steering committee sister? Take it off mute. You're on mute. There you go.
Thank you, Derek. Hello, everyone. It's very nice being here this evening, Derek. This is a great start. My name is Brenda Coles. I'm the president for the Richmond, Virginia chapter of the National Action Network. I do cover the entire state of Virginia and the state of West Virginia. I've been working in civil rights for more than 4 decades. And my focus right now is in criminal justice. And I can't tell you how much I love what it is that I do and making sure that we are taking care of our community and the people and anyone that come to us in crisis. And I would just want to thank everyone for being here this evening.
Thank you, Brenda. I appreciate you. You heard from Jasmine. Joshua Cureton, you're next on my Hollywood Squares.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Joshua Cureton. I'm a crisis volunteer here at National Action Network. As Derek said, I've been with National Action Network for this whole complete 30-year run, and I'm only 35 years old.
Oh,
no, but seriously, I cover the Northeast as well as the Midwest. When the calls come in on the call log, we check the call log and contact the people and try to get the resources or referrals that they need. And it's been a privilege. You know, I just completed 3 years ago. I just retired 20 years from New York State Police Department and jumped from the fire into the frying pan. But it's been good. It's a very privileged to do this, you know, and tonight was great, Derek, and want to thank you for putting this on, as well as Reverend Sharpton for instructing to put this on. And everybody's looking great. Thanks again.
Thank you, Joshua. You're a good, trusted, valued volunteer here, my friend. Brenda Doc, I see you next on this Hollywood Squares. Are you available to talk? Ms. Doc,
Good
there she goes.
afternoon, everyone.
Hey,
How's
Brenda.
everyone doing?
We're
My
doing
name is
good.
Brenda Doc, and I'm a volunteer at National Action Network.
A valued volunteer. She said every Saturday diligently. Thank you, Brenda, for being here. Ashley, you can talk now. Ms. Sharpton is on. She's doing a whole bunch of stuff. She's outside enjoying the weather. She's young, the nightlife. Dr. Jackie Cody, are you available?
Greetings, blessings, and cheers. Very good, Derek. Very good. Keep it going. Keep it going. And I'm just here for support. Everything, I have education written across my forehead. I have Black African power written across my chest. And it's all about uplifting the people. So I have a long list of titles, long list of things that I do. I'm not going to go into that. I'm just going to say I'm here for support. Love you all. Thank you.
Love you. Love you, Sister Cody. And definitely if you have an education issue, Dr. Jackie would be the one to go to. She would be the go-to girl. I see Tia from the West Coast is tapping in. They 3 hours behind. Hey, Tia.
Hello, everyone. Yes, I am logging in from Los Angeles. I want to first say, Derek, this was excellent. The first crisis night, I really enjoyed being part of it and providing support. I'm Tia Delaney. I'm a registered nurse and I'm part of the crisis team. I help cover the Western region, which is California, et cetera, et cetera. And so I'm really excited to be part of this crisis night and look forward to us being able to do one on the West Coast.
Beautiful. And I have Giovanna Mark. She says she's in class. She is a special assistant advisor to me, the National Crisis Director. And as you saw tonight on the call, she has resources after resources, ideas after ideas, and situations, solutions to a lot of these crises. So Giovanna is all our volunteers are very cherished here at the National Action Network. We could not do the work. Reverend Sharpton stresses that we could not do the work without all of the members that do the work. So I thank you all. Thank you all for your service. Thank you all for joining the call. Anybody else would like to introduce yourself? I don't think I know anyone else on the call.
This is
There go
Ash.
Ashley. There go Ashley Sharpton.
I just want to say I'm so proud of you, Derek Perkinson. This is a great inaugural crisis night. I'm so proud of the work you've been doing, period, since you joined there, and your team, the incredible volunteers, the members, Rana, Word, all y'all out there. Y'all do the work. Y'all help Derek do the work, and we thank you for helping us do the work. So I just want to salute to you on your first inaugural legal night. Not legal night. Excuse me, crisis night. It was a great
crisis night. We got to get used to it. I tried to give it a different name, but it just didn't sound right. Crisis night. But thank you, Ashley Sharpton. That's the Princess of Nan. If she said it, she meant it. She don't say things she don't mean. So I appreciate that, Ashley. That's my sister in the struggle. Always been very supportive since I've been here as well. Going on 3 years. This year, Thanksgiving will be 3 years with me at the National Action Network, and it's been history making, man. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. From the outside, Reverend Sharpton, the organization, but from the inside, it's a whole different ball game. So I'm very blessed to be here. I just survived breast cancer surgery, and I grew up with Black Rob, the rapper who passed away at 51, and DMX, who passed away at 50. So God said to me, he's not ready for me yet. So I don't know what my purpose is, but I'm keep pushing until I impact some lives. Maybe that's what it is, or whatever it is. So I'm moving with more of a purpose now. So Reverend Sharpton giving me this platform of Crisis Night. I've always wanted to help people all my life. Like since I was a young kid, I'm always helping people. So this is right up my alley in my older age. So I want to travel the world. I'm an empty nester, so all my kids are out the house, they're in college, so I want to travel the world and help people. That's all I want to do with the rest of my life. I'm only 50 years old. I got a lot of life to live. So that's my plan. Charmaine, you got your hand up.
Yes, besides me losing a lost one, I'm a case manager. I worked in the men's shelter and supportive housing, which I quit because I don't like the way they handle the clients. And I just want to say, Jermaine, you work for DSS, the HRA. I'm not sure if y'all stepping in these shelters as y'all should, but I think y'all need to start like sneak peeking, stepping on doors, because they are not treating these clients right at all.
No,
they
thank you,
keeping them
Charmaine.
longer for the money.
Thank you, Charmaine, for that. Thank you.
They want as one shelter in Long Island City. This lady been here for 9 years. There's no reason why she should be in the shelter for 9 years. You have people that have Section 8 that's been in the shelter for 3 years. You reach out to council people, they don't help. I mean, it's really sad. And then you got these people getting money for these clients and they're not servicing them. I worked the whole pandemic with core services. He got the hazard paycheck and he didn't give us nothing. So guess what? I left. But it's still things that need to be done because these CEOs and these owners are not doing right by the people.
So Jermaine, maybe you and Charmaine have a conversation, tighten some of that stuff up.
Oh yeah.
Hold on, Giovanna. Go ahead, Jermaine.
No, yeah. She, of course, Charmaine made some very good points. But at the end of the day, as a city agency, it's not a perfect system. The amount of people that we can say we help versus the amount of people you're going to hear about going through a hardship is going to always be, the forefront, the most important aspect of which shelter is. At the end of the day, we know there's nothing realistic about affordable housing in New York City. So even with the levels of services that we provide, we try to do our best on something that's been Band-Aid fixed for many years. At the end of the day, you come across me, I'm gonna do my best to make something work out. And as you mentioned, somebody being in the shelter that long, that's definitely a concern, because at the end of the day, we at the point now that we give shopping lists for people to go out and try to find their apartment themselves, even if it's something that we can't find available just so that they can transition. But the realization of the whole thing is that sometimes that amount that they're offering for a person to find housing is not enough. And I don't know, at the end of the day, my salary is not enough for me to give an idea of how they're going to fix that. But hopefully with a new mayor coming in, maybe there's some new protocols that's going to be made. But at the end of the day, you know, like I said, that's definitely a concern that we hear a lot. And we try our best to do it. I mean, that's all I can really tell you about it. And Charmaine, we could definitely talk about that.
Charmaine, hold on a second. Charmaine, this is why we need people like you to become a member and get involved with a chapter in the community, because you know the ins and outs of this issue, and we could try to change it from the inside. Just to let everyone know, I mentioned Joshua Cureton being here from the beginning, signing the papers, but we also have someone else who signed those papers 30 years ago, the original signer, and he'll be the mayor of New York City come January 1st. Or 21st, whatever the date it is. But Eric Adams was a NAN member. He is a NAN member, one of the founding members who signed the documentation. So we have people that was on the ground marching, protesting with us that's inside. So we're trying to change from the inside. So Jermaine, you know, like you said, your pay scale is not up there high enough, but we could formulate a plan, a policy to put in place that no one is in a shelter for no 9 years. That's insane. So hold on. We need to get that name, Jermaine, and see what we could do for that person. We need to get that name from Charmaine and reach out to that person in that shelter and get them in some housing. If there's a waiting list, they're first in line for whatever's next available after 9 years. So go ahead, Giovanna, and then we'll take Dr. Jackie Cody. And I see DeLeon.
Yes, you see DeLeon. I just wanted to introduce myself. Thank you, Derek, and everybody on this call for doing such hard work. I work in Richmond with Brenda Coles. I've been a NAN member for quite a while, and just an admirer of the moxie that our leader has. And mainly, I just wanted to just sit back and watch the real workers do the work, because you guys look like your hands are getting dirty, especially you, Derek. And I just wanted to introduce myself, and everybody have a great night.
No doubt. I appreciate
Real quick, Derek. Damien is the vice president, and he is dynamite, and he is right there. I don't care when I call Damien.
Hands up. Hold up. Hands up.
Damien is there. So that he is the vice president for the Richmond, Virginia chapter. Thank you, Damien.
Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, Brenda. Thank you, Giovanna. You first. Giovanna, please.
Charmaine, again, thank you very much for bringing that up. I was debating whether I should bring it up tonight myself, but I am at the table with our own public advocate, Jamani Williams, and Jabril, his assistants, talking about the same issue. I have clients who are going back to jail, recidivism, back in the hospitals because they have the HRA 2010E, and they're being placed with people that—
Giovanna, your phone is going out.
Well, my purpose of saying this is that we're on our way to court, suing the New York City as well, New York State. We're taking statements now. So if anyone have statements, I will be putting my information in the chat. If y'all have clients that's going through stuff in the shelters, supportive housing, please get in touch with me. We have over 1,000 statements from people in the shelters and people that are—
Okay, you went out again, Giovanna. We got the message though. Anybody want to sign up with that lawsuit? Put your contact information in for Giovanna. Dr. Cody, your hand is up next, and then we'll go with Christina.
Yes, this is why I adore me some brother Derek Ferguson, because I'm listening to the response to Charmaine, and you jump right in. It was like, look, we got to do something. So that is why I love you so much, because somebody said to me one day, I was telling them that we need remote learning for children, and they was like, well, the world is not fair, and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, look, it's up to us. It's up to us to make it fair. We don't have to sit back and have it not fair. So if something's not working right, we don't have to we know what the challenges are. We know what it is. We can come together. We are powerful people. We can come together. Charmaine raised it. She listed. She knows some information from the inside. We got Giovanna on the call, who is the broker of information guru. And it's about putting our heads together to make it right. No longer do we have to sit back and accept things for what they are. We make it right. This is the National Action Network. So we act. So thank you for that, Derek. Let's put our heads together and make it right. There should be no one homeless, period. Thank you.
Thank you. I got another question. Christina, you had your hands up.
Yeah, I just put the information in the chat. So I work with the Justice Involved Supportive Housing, where people were transitioning out of the out of jails, and I was dealing with people who were arrested at least 40 times. And what I noticed is that we gave them the homes and the resources and everything they need, healthcare. But there was one particular member that I realized that he felt more comfortable. He didn't feel comfortable having his own responsibility in a home, that he ended up going back into the street living as a person who experienced homelessness. I think if we transition people out, especially people who have been in 9 years, they kind of get accustomed to that kind of environment. We have to offer support with them, teaching them how to do their budget, teaching them how to clean their home, to do their laundry, so they can know how to be independent, so they could be able to sustain themselves while they're living on their own and not end up back in the system again.
Excellent point, Christina. I appreciate that. So listen, we at our time. We at 7:00. If we had more clients, we would stay on, but we don't have more clients. So I'll see most of you this Friday at the Crisis Steering Committee meeting. If anybody would like to join the meeting, that's not a part of the meeting now, you're more than welcome to come join and fellowship with us as well. So I brought up our volunteers before I sign out. There go Naomi Jones, Disability Committee Chair. There goes Sister Word. We don't even know her real name. She just said, my name Word.
That is her.
There go Chaplain Mitchell and the Sister Chaplain Mitchell. And listen, they volunteer with us as well as all of you. So I wanted to bring them up to say my first crisis night. Thank you very much, Reverend Sharpton, for making the National Action Network, for making a platform to fight injustice nationwide and worldwide, and for giving me the keys to the New York City, New York State, and for finding my purpose. So I thank you all for being with me and being together on this journey we call life. And we don't know where it's going to take us, only God knows, but we have faith, we're going to pray, and we're going to keep helping people, and where the chips fall where they may. So I thank you guys for coming tonight. I'm very happy. My butterflies are gone. And I thank you guys for coming. You guys did great. Sam, you did great. Commission on Human Rights. Christina, excellent. She's going to be following up. Jermaine, very insightful. I learned a lot of little things. I see you, Denise. I learned a lot of little things, Jermaine, about the city government and stuff. So we're going to fix some of this stuff. So things could be fixed. And we got a man, I believe, coming to City Hall named Eric Adams, who can fix a lot of stuff. So signing out, crisis night over, first night. Thank you. Everybody get home safe.